If you think the London system is boring, think again. I was watching my friend International Master Alex Banzea, who is a huge fan of the London. I picked up this one interesting trap, and you will want to see it, because if you find this in your game, you have to play it. And what's crazy is my opponent played very normal looking moves. C5, although it's a little bit early, it's very thematic in the London to play C5 to try and attack white's center. And it's actually the first of 3 criteria for this trap to work. I consider C5 and knight C6 as one of the 3 criteria, because no one's going to play C5 without playing knight C6 most likely. Here, just normal developing moves. The knights come out. Here, I play knight B to D2 because now that C5 is on the board, I'm going to want to fortify my dark squares and my D4 pawn with C3. And here, the second criteria is met. The light square bishop has to be outside of the light square pawn chain. And again, this is very natural looking moves for black here. But as soon as you see that bishop blocked outside of the pawn chain, you can play queen a4. And depending on what your opponent does next, they might complete the 3rd criteria for this trap to work. Bishop d6. Pause to solve to see if you can find the best move in this position. It's nothing to do with this dark square bishop. In fact, it's the other bishop that gets to go all the way to a6. Just imagine the satisfaction of getting to play this move. What's the idea? Well, if the pawn takes, then all of a sudden you take the knight with check, and if the queen blocks, then obviously you're winning a rook. But that's hopefully not what your opponent would do. They would probably see that, and they'd be playing king e7 instead. But now you can play like queen b7, and they're running out of moves. Like the best move here is just to block with a knight, but then your king just starts getting walked out into the center, and it's really not looking fun for black. It's not like a super concrete line. You'll have to study this. And I highly recommend that you check out Alex Banzea's YouTube channel. I'll link it down in the description below. But just know that having the black king on d6 is not ideal for black, okay? And if we go back, some people will see this and they're like, I don't want any part of that. So they're going to play queen c7 to try and like hold the b7 pawn. But that queen is overloaded, because now how can the queen guard both b7 and this bishop? So now I simply take on d6, the queen takes, and now I'm taking the b7 pawn anyway. And the threat's not just winning a pawn, it's now that the bishop and the queen both see the knight. My opponent castles, which is the best move. I immediately snap up the knight. He takes. It's move 12, and I'm up a full piece and a pawn. Thank you, Alex Banzea. The rest of this game, I'll show it really briefly, but basically I was up a piece, and all I had to do was trade material down, but I actually blundered, and I allowed my c-pawn to drop. But even then, you can make blunders when you're down a piece, and it's all good. And yeah, basically I eventually chipped away at the kingside pawns, and then traded material down this way, and one more time eliminated the only counterplay of my opponent, took with the rook, and now it's about shouldering the black king away from the pawns. And at this point right here, my opponent resigned. There's no squares that they can go to save their pawns. They go this way, I follow, and everything drops. If you enjoyed this video, then go hit the like button, the subscribe button, and go check out Alex Banzea's channel as well. Somehow, only 2% of you that watch my channel are actually subscribed. So let's get that percentage a little bit closer to the average accuracy of your chess games. Hope you enjoyed. Happy learning, everyone.